Hello to You Are Enough group. How you going? It's Steve Barker here from Wagga, and it's a cold, chilly morning. So I thought I'd pop on and do a Facebook Live with you and celebrate. I've got something to celebrate. 4 years ago today, I moved to Australia. I landed and I came across the immigration white line and started my new life here. Now, did I know that I was going to be doing what I'm doing right now? No, I had no idea. When I arrived, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea what jobs I was going to be doing or anything. But before we get into that, I would just like to say hello to all of our new members that have joined us. We've now got over 2,730 something members, which is amazing. It's absolutely great, and the group's actually starting to work. People are posting stuff, and it's great to see. So if you have joined me, just give me a quick thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me, because I don't want to be doing this for about 40 minutes or however long it's going to take with no noise. So if you're there, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can hear me. So, as I mentioned, 4 years ago, I moved to Australia. And I want to share with you the journey that I've been on, the mindset that it's taken me to get this far, to give up a successful career in the Royal Air Force, and to move to a country where I really only knew about 10 people, to move to the other side of the world and to start a new life, to carve out a new existence for myself. So I want to share that with you because I think it's really important. It's something that I've struggled with. It's something that's been difficult, but it's certainly something that's helped me grow and develop. And as this group is all about personal development and growth, I wanted to share this with you. So where do I start? Probably at the beginning, I guess. So I joined the Air Force, the Royal Air Force in the United Kingdom, when I was 16 and a half years old. My mum and dad eventually gave me permission to join before the age of 18 and signed the forms and waved me off on the train station in Didcot, and I went on to become a telecommunications operator in the Royal Air Force. I had 26 wonderful years in the military. I served all over the world. Cyprus, Germany, Gibraltar, Italy, Falklands, in and out of hotspots in the Middle East. Just served all over the place, really. Had a wonderful time, met some beautiful people, lived in some great countries, was part of really great cultures, very historical cultures as well. At the end of my time in the Air Force, I was actually a basic recruit sergeant, so I was that big nasty drill sergeant who would scream and shout at young people and help them become ready for the Royal Air Force. And I noticed that I was able to help people in that role. Then I got given the opportunity to come over to Australia on an exchange tour. So I took it. I took the opportunity. And it was great. It was something that I'd always wanted to do, was to come and see what Australia was like. And when I arrived in a place called Wagga Wagga, which I thought was made up to start off with. There's not many places with strange names like that around the world. And I did 4 months here. I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the country. I fell in love with a lady. There's always a lady in the story. And I need to acknowledge that lady, and I will do later on in the story. So I went back to the UK. And I was still serving my country. I was still in the Royal Air Force at the time. But when I went back, I'd sort of come to the conclusion that my career was coming to a natural conclusion. And I was torn between, what do I do? Do I go to Australia? Do I stay in the UK? Do I leave the Air Force and go and try something new somewhere else in the world? And I was stood on a Remembrance Day parade. And this one young man who thought it was funny, some young juvenile delinquent, thought he would try to urinate up the back of my leg whilst I was stood on parade. And that pretty much was the decider for me. Why am I serving a country that is no longer serving me? So I was still in contact with the lady that I'd met in Australia, and we had talked about the possibility of me moving over. So, we made that a firm proposition, and I put my notice in, and then subsequently found that I'd been sent to the Falklands for the last 4 months of my my tenure in the Air Force. So that's what I decided to do. I'd made the decision. Wow, that was a scary decision, I can tell you. Yeah, I was giving up a career that I loved. I was moving halfway around the world. I was going to be leaving my family. I was going to be leaving my daughter. How do you quantify a decision like that? Well, sometimes you just have to say yes and work out how later on. You know, it was an opportunity. It was one of those no-brainer moments. You know, those I've mentioned this before with Richard Branson. His no-brainer moments where he says, you know, if I invest this, what's the worst that could happen? You know, for me, if I came over to Australia, something went wrong, didn't work out, I could go back to the UK. I wouldn't have anything when I went back to the UK. I sold my car. I didn't have a home. I'd have to start from scratch again. I'd be sleeping on a friend's floor, or I'd be homeless for a period of time. So, you know, there was that risk, but I thought it was a risk worth taking. So anyway, put my notice in, left the Air Force, booked my tickets, and came out here to Australia. Now, my partner, Shirley, she doesn't watch these. She thinks it's really weird and uncomfortable to watch her partner doing Facebook Lives, and other people that she knows that does Facebook Lives as well. So, but I'm going to acknowledge her anyway, because I wouldn't be where I am without that lady. She's a beautiful, kind, caring lady who has supported me in everything that I've chosen to do. And since arriving in Australia, as I'll tell you, I've had 3 or 4 different jobs, and you know, it was Shirley that suggested that maybe I could start helping people again, just as I did when I was in the Air Force, by doing what I'm doing now. So thanks very much, Shirley. You know, I love you, and thank you for supporting me and being there. I know you're not watching this, but I'm going to make this public anyway. So I arrived in Australia this time 4 years ago. Probably, I'm thinking probably to the hour, actually, not far off it. I landed around dinner time and got off the plane, met Shirley at the airport, and that was the start of a massive change, a massive adventure. And that's how I saw it, as an adventure. It wasn't something that was scary. It was just a case of, let's see where this goes. Let's see what happens. What was my mindset about it? Well, my mindset was that I can do this, that I can carve out a new life. I would have to have left the Air Force at some point. So, you know, why not take the opportunity to do it now? And that's what I did. I wasn't able to work for the first 6 months. I did some voluntary stuff around. I helped on a friend's farm. He's got a sheep farm, and we had some fun. I experienced a lot within this first 6 months of just being part of a rural community in New South Wales in Australia. It was a real eye-opener to see how the community operated, but I was welcomed with open arms, which was great. I started to make friends and I started to know people. And then I got the opportunity to be able to go and work. I got granted a working visa, which was great. Ding, tick. I could then start contributing. So I went and worked at the cinema, and they offered me an opportunity. I was going to be cleaning cinemas and picking up bits of popcorn and serving people. Yep, I went from, you know, a Royal Air Force sergeant, drill sergeant, to cleaning cinemas. And for me, that was really important. It was really important to be able to start contributing, to start growing again. And we've talked about the 6 core needs of the human being, and those are the 2 spiritual needs, the need for growth and the need for contribution. So for me, it was, the need for growth and the need for connections is spiritual. Contribution is one of the other ones. But anyway, growth and contribution is what I was doing. And it started to give me purpose. It started to give me desire to continue living here. I was having a great time. I enjoyed working at the cinema. I started to help the young people there with their customer skills. I helped them with their appearance. I helped them, and don't tell Craig this, the manager, I helped them with their resumes so that they could go on and find better employment. But it was all part of helping people, and I really enjoyed it. And then after that, I went to work at the airport, where I was the head of security, and I helped raise a team there, and we became first or second in the screening ladder in New South Wales. So that was, again, another great win. But all of these times, as I was going through all of this, I was having doubts, I was having concerns. I was worried where I was going to go. None of these jobs were what I wanted to do. None of these jobs really engaged me. None of these jobs, set my world on fire. I was having, I suppose, my issues were being reflected out onto the bosses that I was working with. I was being very demanding. I was trying to maintain or bring across standards that I'd had in the military that just weren't compatible within civilian life. Took me a long time to realise that. So there was this conflict going on, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle, and it took me a while to start to learn about how to work within a civilian environment, how to change my understanding, my perceptions, my beliefs. My values have never changed, but my beliefs around those values have changed. And by doing this, I realised that I was starting to take control of my life. I was starting to see where I wanted to go. I was understanding who I was. And I also noticed that I was starting to enjoy myself more. I was enjoying being me. I was rediscovering who I was, which was great because that had sort of got lost over a long period of time. And then I started training to become a personal development and youth worker, and that's really lit my boat. So the way that I look at the 3 or 4 jobs that I did before I started doing what I'm doing now was I was trying on new clothes, I was trying on new skin, I was trying on new ideas, and some of those ideas worked and some of them didn't, but I took the good points from each one, I took the lessons from each one, and I grew and I developed and I built around those. I took the negatives and I thought, right, I am not going to be doing that again. I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm not going to talk to people the way that I did there. And as I took these lessons and I took them on board, and then I started to take action with them. And it's led me to where I am now. 4 years on, still living in Wagga Wagga, now calling Australia my home. I have permanent residency. I will be going for citizenship as and when the Australian government let me. I love this country. I love the people. It doesn't mean that I don't like the United Kingdom anymore. It's still got a place in my heart, as have my family who are still over there in the UK. My daughter's coming to visit me next week, and I am really, really looking forward to spending a month with her and enjoying her company. So, yes, I've been here for 4 years. It's been a struggle, but I've managed to get there. What have I done about it? I had a good mindset. I was willing to learn from my mistakes. I was willing to try different things. Even though sometimes I felt that those things were probably not where I needed to be. But it paid a wage. It kept my self-esteem going, kept my self-worth going. And I did things that, I had to do, I needed to do. And from all of that, over a period of 4 years, I managed to start a new life here in Australia. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I'm not saying about moving halfway around the world, but what I am saying is about your mindset. If you want to change something, you can do it. If you want a new career, you can do it. If you want to change the people you hang out with, you can do it. You are enough to do anything you want to do. All you have to do is believe in it up here. Believe that you're going to fail. Believe that you're going to have successes. Believe that you're going to have to change yourself in some way to achieve what it is that you need to achieve. Whether those be your beliefs, whether those be your values, whether those be your standards, whether those be your perceptions, whether those be your understandings, whether that be your tolerance. There's lots and lots of variables out there that you will need to change to achieve what you want to achieve. But if you want it bad enough, if your why is strong enough, you can do it. You can do absolutely anything you want. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. This is a group about personal development and growth. Most people on this group want to change. They want to do something. A lot of people on the group don't know how to go about doing that. But if you can take snippets from myself and other people, you can role model, you can find other people that have done it, you can look at their mindset and understand it, and then you can start taking action. That's what you can do to change your life right now. You don't have to settle for second best. You've only got one life. Do the very best you can with it. Thanks very much for allowing me to share with you my celebration of being in Australia for 4 years. Also, thank you very much for sharing my story with you. And I hope that you found it of some use. If you would love to discuss this with me more, please do. I'm really open to helping people with their mindset and their thought process around changing and what they need to do. I'm also happy to discuss what barriers you may come up against and how you can push through those barriers. I've become a life behavioural specialist, I suppose. I've been studying people and their reactions for over 10 years now. I understand what makes people tick. I understand how people hold on to things that don't serve them. I understand the fears and the concerns that they have and what drive those fears and concerns. So if you want to chat with me, please just drop a comment down below or inbox me. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me. I will speak to you again soon. Until then, take care. Toodaloo, guys.